This video is brought to you by MOVİE. Get a whole month free at movie.com/docinema. After making the previous video about liminal spaces in movies, lots of people have commented that these empty and nostalgic places look a lot like their dreams. There's actually a whole genre on the internet dedicated to these dreamlike images. They give you a feeling you've been there before, but you don't know how or when. These so-called dreamscapes are also used in many movies, precisely to evoke a similar feeling. Besides, dreams and movies actually have quite a lot in common. They are images playing out in front of us while we're in the dark. They often contain places that feel familiar yet are strange at the same time. And most importantly, they are both narratives created by our mind that allow us to enter an alternate reality. In this video, we're going to continue our liminal space odyssey and dive into the wondrous world of dreams. I made a selection of some of the best dream sequences in the history of cinema, to show you all kinds of surreal locations and absurd visuals. So now, I think it's time to explore the strangely familiar world of Dreamcore. Especially in children's movies, the dream world is often associated with a colorful utopia. A place somewhere over the rainbow which can be entered through a secret door or portal, like in The Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland, who falls down a rabbit hole and lands into a fantasy world that's full of weird people and animals. The doorway in cinema often represents that moment of transition, the threshold between two worlds or moments in time, and it's no coincidence that the famous liminal space subreddit has a doorway as its profile picture, because the word liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which literally means threshold. And so doorways and passages are essentially the ultimate liminal space.
But I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.
The doorway gives characters a choice that leads them into the unknown. It could be an alternative world, a door to someone's mind, a new reality, or perhaps a dream. So are you ready to enter the dream world? Welcome to the dreamscape. The term is a combination of the words dream and landscape, and they are images or locations that look like something seen in a dream. They are often portrayed as actual landscapes with green hills and blue skies. Two movies that are often mentioned are Cat in the Hat and Toys, because of their colorful and dreamlike locations. They probably remind us of our childhood, like the days we were home alone while our parents were out of town, or the indoor playgrounds that felt huge when we were younger. These dreamscapes were popularized by this video on TikTok, which had 40 million views.
There exists a world that you can only reach between 3:30 and 3:33 a.m. Before you travel, I must advise you of a few rules.
Similar to the concept of the infamous backrooms, there supposedly exists a door to a world with its own laws and logic that you can only enter at a certain time. The video is part of a broader genre created by the internet called Dreamcore that uses images like the dreamscapes, videos and music in order to recreate the general feeling of a dream.
And rule number 4, the most important of them all. Wear a watch at all times. Time is weird there, and if you don't have a clock on you, time will warp into nothingness and you won't know when to leave. That's all. Safe travels.
But here's where it gets interesting. In movies, the term dreamscape can also refer to the dream being an escape from a character's rather boring or restricted life into a utopian world. Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, for example, is the ultimate dream world for kids. When Charlie finds the last golden ticket, it becomes his escape from poverty into a magical world full of candy, where suddenly everything is possible. And when Dorothy steps out of her grey house into the bright musical world of Oz, it signifies her escape from the restrictions of home. Characters often find themselves stuck in their day-to-day life, feel misplaced or bored in some way. They are in an emotional liminal space, like discussed in the previous video. And while they're trying to find a way out, escaping into a dream world seems like the only logical option. Like Alice, who in a moment of indecision sees a white rabbit that gives her a chance to escape. Or in Midnight in Paris, where the main character travels back in time to meet famous writers and painters.
Hemingway.
Hemingway?
All because he has difficulty living in the present. All these worlds are portrayed as utopias, but the word utopia is a combination of the Greek words ou, meaning no, and topos, meaning place. A utopia is therefore a non-place, a seemingly perfect world that is unrealistic or doesn't exist. In many stories, characters end up getting stuck in the dream world, simply because things are too good to be true. This happens in Coraline, Alice in Wonderland, Spirited Away, and Edward Scissorhands, who all wandered into a seemingly perfect world but now need to find their way out. But even worse, what if you never realized you were living in a dream world, and you've never actually seen the real world? Then following the white rabbit starts to get a whole new meaning. The Matrix subverts the idea of the dream world being the escape. Neo has been living in a simulated construct his entire life, called the Matrix, but when he gets a message on his PC, he is told to follow a white rabbit that leads him to Morpheus, who gives him the decision to stay in his dream or to wake up and see the real world.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
The most famous movie about exploring the nature of dreams is Inception by Christopher Nolan. The movie shows how most of the time we are unaware of the fact that we're dreaming, but occasionally we are able to transcend this barrier of unawareness. This concept is called a lucid dream. It's when you become aware that you're dreaming, allowing you to explore and even manipulate the dreamscapes. Kinda like this SpongeBob episode.
You know, Patrick, this is a dream. You can do anything you want.
Yep.
I mean anything. Watch. I can turn into a skyscraper going up. Huh? I can make 1,000,000 of these. Huh? Huh?
Yep.
Ah, tartar sauce. I'm going to a different dream.
Okay. Bye, SpongeBob.
Inception uses a technology called dream hacking, which allows them to enter other people's dreams, like SpongeBob, and even enter a dream within a dream, within yet another dream. Time plays a huge role in Nolan's films, from severe time dilation in Interstellar, where 1 hour on Miller's planet equals 7 years on Earth, to the use of reverse time in Tenet, and so does this in our dreams, because we are not really aware of the time passing. You might recognize this famous painting by Salvador Dali called The Persistence of Memory. This is probably the first dreamscape ever created, which dates back to the 1920s Surrealist movement. The melted watches refer to the fact that time and space are often distorted in our dreams. Just like in the back rooms, what feels like a decade might just be a few minutes in reality. And in Inception, the more dream levels they go down into the subconscious, the slower time starts to move. Some claim that Inception was inspired by the anime Paprika, as many of the shots and concepts are very similar. But if we are able to control dreams, can we also have control over time? The movie Primer had a budget of only $7,000 and is one of the most realistic movies when it comes to time travel. Two guys start experimenting with a time machine and change the past and future to make infinite money on the stock market, but they soon discover that their actions lead to dark consequences. The butterfly effect refers to the idea that small changes such as the flutter of a butterfly's wings can cause big changes in the future. A single decision could make your future look completely different. If Neo had taken the blue pill, the movie would have ended fairly quickly. The main character in Mr. Nobody has to choose between his mother and his father. In the seconds preceding, we see the rest of his life flash by, wondering where each choice will take him. Maybe you've ever had a déjà vu. That strange moment when it feels like you've been somewhere before. Now imagine waking up one day, only to realize you've already lived that day before. Then waking up the next day and it's still that same day, and again, and again, and again. In the movie Groundhog Day, Phil has to relive Groundhog Day all over again. His quest becomes to escape this endless cycle. Sometimes we also have these recurring dreams, like Harry Potter, who keeps seeing the same doorway and strange people in his dreams.
Have there been others like this dream?
Yes. Always the same one.
Dumbledore has a pensieve where he's able to store and review his dreams and memories.
Sir, these dreams, what I see, you don't think it's actually happening, do you?
I think it's unwise for you to linger over these dreams, Harry. I think it's best if you simply cast them away.
But while some are able to save their memories, others want to erase them. In Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, after a breakup, Joel and his ex-girlfriend use a machine to wipe all the memories they had with each other. But while the memories are slowly being erased, Joel wants to stop the process and tries to do everything he can to preserve them. All these movies show how hard it can be to distinguish the dream world from the real world, or distinguish the dream from another dream, or even the past from the future. This scene from Inception symbolizes the infinite amount of realities which can exist in the dream world, because the biggest threat that all these characters are facing is the potential loss of their grip on reality. That's why Cobb has a totem in the form of a spinning top. If it keeps spinning, you know you're in a dream, but when it stops, you're in reality. And Harry Potter has to undergo intense mind control training from Professor Snape to make sure his biggest nightmare does not become reality.
Concentrate, Potter. Focus.
You've been living in a dream world, Neo. This is the world as it exists today. Welcome to the desert of the real.
This brings us to the dystopian dreamscapes. A world where it becomes harder and harder to distinguish the real from the artificial is also explored by Blade Runner. It shows a dystopian future in which dreams and memories are just fabrications implanted in people's minds to make them believe they are real people. Officer K, however, might be the last person to have real memories and goes to the place where they are created to find out.
I know it's real.
Sometimes a character's isolation or imprisonment can lead them to create an imaginary world as well, like in the dystopian movie 1984.
Do you know how long you've been here? No. Weeks. Months. Do you know why you're here?
Hallucinations and dreamlike scenes are often used in movies where the main character is becoming mentally unstable. We see this in movies like Fight Club and Donnie Darko, where the main characters create alter egos caused by insomnia or schizophrenia. These unreliable narrators give us a hard time distinguishing fact from fiction because we experience everything from their perspective. And in Shutter Island, where the main character has daydreams of meeting his wife who passed away, only to realize that it was all an illusion. In Life of Pi, the main character has been surviving in the Pacific Ocean after a shipwreck, together with a tiger on a lifeboat, and after months he thinks he sees an island. This is called a Fata Morgana. It is an Italian term used for the mirages often seen by sailors in the Strait of Messina, who believed that they were seeing fairy castles or false land created by witchcraft to lure them to their deaths.
Words are all I have left to hang on to. Everything mixed up, fragmented. Can't tell daydreams, night dreams from reality anymore.
It makes the audience question, was there actually a tiger on the boat, or was it a figment of his imagination? We have come down to the last dreamscape, which is the unconstructed dream space. If you've ever seen any of these strangely familiar places videos, you've probably heard this song play over it. It's Just a Burning Memory by The Caretaker.
You were the caretaker here.
I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker.
The song is part of an album called Everywhere at the End of Time, and it's a 6.5-hour-long compilation of music that explores what it feels like to get dementia. It starts with nostalgic and dreamlike songs, but over time the distortion and reverb increases. Just like this video, we started with beautiful daydreams, went over to the surreal, confusing and broken memory stage, and now we're transitioning into our last destination, the post-awareness stage. The movie Vortex by Gaspar Noé shares the same trajectory, showing how an old couple slowly drifts away from reality because of dementia, and the movie ends with a liminal space compilation with pictures of their empty apartment.
La vie est un rêve, non?
Oui. Un rêve dans un rêve.
The term limbo comes from the Latin word limbus, meaning edge or boundary. It is an uncertain situation, one that you cannot control and in which there is no progress or improvement. Or, according to some mythologies, it is the realm where a soul is stuck before it'll go to heaven or hell. In Inception, limbo is the last frontier, a dream vacuum where nothing exists and a dreamer's grasp on reality can easily be lost.
So what happens when we die?
We drop into limbo.
Are you serious?
Limbo?
Unconstructed dream space.
Well, what the hell is down there?
Just raw, infinite subconscious. Nothing is down there.
This is why it's so dangerous and feared by the team. Cobb and his wife had spent 50 years there because of severe time dilation. And when Harry Potter dies, he spawns in an empty space, not knowing his next destination. So what is next? Perhaps nothingness. The afterlife maybe. Depending on your religion or beliefs, this space might look completely different. Tree of Life by Terrence Malick ends poetically with families being reunited in the spirit world, and Andrei Tarkovsky uses cinema as a reflection on life, using flashbacks to his childhood and almost spiritual-like dream sequences. And Enter the Void by Gaspar Noé explores the Buddhist belief that our consciousness continues after death and may be reborn. But perhaps it's reincarnation, and we meet again in another life.
I want to live a real life. I don't want to dream any longer. I'll see you in another life, when we are both cats.
But no matter which one you choose, all these directors capture life as a reflection, and ultimately, life as a dream.
I'll be going now, Harry.
Professor? Is this all real? Or is it just happening inside my head?
Of course it's happening inside your head, Harry. Why should that mean that it's not real?
Dreams are like the theater of the mind. Just like movies, all dreams feel real while they're happening. And when you wake up, sometimes you're moved, sometimes you're terrified, and sometimes you've no idea what happened. The most mind-blowing part of Inception is that it's not only about dreaming, it's also about making a movie. The main character comes up with a concept called Inception, he hires people to create the dream, and each crew member has a specific role to make the illusion as believable as possible. And when the movie ends, the dream also ends, precisely because the movie itself was our escape from reality. They say dreams and movies are only true while they last, but can we at best say more of life? Because I think that life is the most beautiful movie we'll ever get to see.
Relax, David. Open your eyes.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to watch more movies with similar themes, definitely check out Voyage of Time, Her, and Chungking Express on MOVİE. MOVİE is a place to discover ambitious new films and singular voices, from iconic directors to emerging auteurs. And the best thing is that they are all carefully handpicked by MOVİE curators, streaming anytime, anywhere.
We work anytime, anywhere.
We work Jewish holidays?
Anytime, anywhere.
You can try MOVİE free for 30 days at movie.com/docinema. That's mubi.com/docinema for an entire month of great cinema for free.